Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be just a short follow-up video to the last video we did on the minigame, which you can see on the screen. After the video had fully processed, I published it, and I started thinking about some of the issues I had yesterday. And I realized that I must have been very, very tired when recording that video because I made some very silly mistakes there. And I also left out some things that I probably should have included in the video itself. So let's go through some of these things. Starting with a very embarrassing math error on my part. So we had this, and we still have the circular arena like this, right? There's the pedestal in the middle. And we have these axes. We have a z-axis and we have an x-axis. Y-axis goes straight up, so it's difficult to draw from this perspective. And we had this bug which only actually manifested itself once yesterday, where we had diamonds spawning outside of the arena like this. And it wasn't immediately clear to me why that happened, but it's in hindsight it's perfectly obvious. We have this distance here, and we have this distance here, essentially. So the half sphere, or the radius along the x-axis and z-axis, we essentially just pick some place along this distance here to place the sphere, and we do the same along this. So that gives us essentially this sort of rectangle, which we can then flip along any of the four quadrants like this, right? And it's very clear to everyone except me, apparently, that this area here is part of that quadrant. So basically what I needed to do was just calculate this distance, and which is the same as this distance, obviously, and sort of measure the distance from the center, make sure that we're not outside of the radius. And that fixed that bug. So, terribly embarrassing math error. But hey, that stuff happens. The next thing is something that I spent quite a bit of time on yesterday and didn't really go anywhere. We have this string here, this current diamond object name, which caused us a bit of grief, actually, because I had to catch some errors here and use the set method. We forgot to use the set method, all kinds of things. My plan with this was that we would keep track of the name of the current diamond object, so that when we actually get a hit, so when where's the method, when this diamond hit method is fired, we can actually verify that it is the current diamond that got hit and not some other diamond. Well, first of all, that's not really necessary because we don't ever spawn more than one diamond. And second of all, we didn't really do anything with this. So we define it here, we initialize it, we deinitialize it, we set it, and then we use that name to create the actual object. But that's it. We didn't use it. We never read it except this one time right after we've set it. So yeah, I was a bit tired. If you wonder what the deal with this was, it was sort of a half-baked thought. Then I did some improvements to the game, even though I was kind of ready to almost drop it. First of all, I properly UV unwrapped, or I say properly, but I just essentially smart UV unwrapped this arena in Blender, so it more or less matches the rest of the objects here. The UV mapping was just complete chaos. And this pedestal here in the middle, that was just essentially single colored. And you can still see some seams here. I mean, this is just a block out after all, so I'm not gonna spend time on it. But yeah, it looks much nicer now. Speaking of this pedestal, we never really did anything with it. It's just sort of sitting there. I spoke about perhaps placing a fire particle system at the top of it when you actually finish a game. And so I just went ahead and did that. But before we get to that though, if we start the game, I need to go back to the game camera. We now have some nice HUD elements showing you the time here. Actually, oh, that was lucky. I lowered the amount of diamonds you need to collect to 3, so we're going to finish it now, and we get a nice finished text, and you can see your time there for a bit. And here is the beautiful fire particle system. And now if we start the game again, it goes out. So just a few sort of almost like quality of life improvements. These are things that I had originally thought I would add to the game. Maybe I even spoke about them yesterday, but yeah, it was a long day. Let's just say. So this is sort of like the state I wanted the game to be in. And I figured I would perhaps record myself making these improvements, but I think you guys have seen enough of this game. Let's get on to something more interesting. This was overall a pretty good experience. I think this is a very good sort of test to have around, even though this is not necessarily something that's going to go into the final product. It's really good. It shows like the interplay between many systems and subsystems here. So a pretty good test to have around and just making sure that it works. And there's even a little bit of networking required for these HUD elements, this thing to to actually show up now, because the script is running on the server, and the HUD is obviously controlled by the client. So I even needed to put in a propagated value to keep track of the state of the game. So that's it for this time. Next time we're going to do something that's much more relevant to the actual means game and not just a technology test. So hope to see you then. If you have any questions or comments, write them below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.